My name is Hazel Carter, I'm 32 years old, and I live in Austin, Texas. By profession, I'm a registered nurse. People at work would probably describe me as dependable, patient, and caring, the kind of woman who never complains and always puts others first. That's been my identity for as long as I can remember, the caretaker. The one who sacrifices, the one who bends so others don't break. For years, I thought being that kind of woman would earn me love and respect. I believed if I gave enough of myself, the world would give back. But I was wrong. The very people I sacrificed for, the family I built my life around, used my kindness as a weapon against me. This story is about how my so-called loved ones broke me down piece by piece until they went too far. And when they did, I became someone they never expected. I grew up in a small town just outside of Dallas, raised by a single mom who worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table. She taught me that hard work and kindness could take you far. And maybe that's why, when I first met Junaid, I thought I had finally found someone who valued those same things. He wasn't like the men I'd dated before. He was charismatic, funny, and ambitious. He worked in real estate and carried himself with a confidence that made me feel safe. When he looked at me, I felt seen, like I mattered. Within a year of dating, he proposed. We got married in a small ceremony, nothing extravagant, just family and a few close friends. At first, everything was beautiful. We bought a modest home, and soon after, we welcomed our daughter Emma. 2 years later, our son Noah arrived. I thought I had it all: a husband who loved me, children who completed me, and a job that gave me purpose. But there was a shadow over our happiness. A shadow with names: Layla and Nadia. Junaid's sisters never liked me. From the beginning, I was treated as the outsider. They didn't approve of my background, the way I dressed, or even the fact that I had a career. In their eyes, I was a woman who should have been entirely devoted to their brother and to them, not to my patients, not to my dreams. At first, their remarks seemed petty. "Hazel, are you sure you can manage both kids and that job? Maybe you should just stay home." Or, "That dress is cute, but don't you think it's a little plain for family dinner?" But over time, those petty remarks grew sharper, crueler. For the first couple of years, Junaid defended me. He'd tell them to back off, remind them that I was his wife and deserved respect. I clung to those moments, believing he'd always protect me. But something changed. Maybe it was the constant drip of poison from his sisters, or maybe he just found it easier to side with them than to fight. Either way, he began to see me through their lens. Suddenly, every argument ended with, "You know, my sisters have a point." If I forgot to do laundry one night after a 12-hour shift, it became, "Layla said you're not managing the house well." If I questioned a financial decision, it turned into, "Nadia thinks you're too controlling." Little by little, Junaid slipped away from me, and I was left standing alone against an army I hadn't chosen. What made it harder was the contrast between my two worlds. At work, I was respected. Patients trusted me, colleagues admired me, supervisors praised my dedication. I was Nurse Hazel, the steady hands that saved lives, the kind smile that calmed anxious families. But at home I was Junaid's wife, the target of constant criticism, the butt of cruel jokes, the woman whose worth was questioned at every turn. Do you know how exhausting it is to live 2 lives? To be admired by strangers during the day, then come home to be torn apart by the people you love most? It was like walking through 2 different realities, never sure which one was real. There were countless little humiliations leading up to the breaking point. I remember one dinner where Nadia, accidentally, spilled wine all over the new dress I'd saved up to buy. She laughed it off, but I saw the smug look in her eyes. Another time, Layla announced in front of extended family that she thought it was cute I tried to help with finances, even though women never really understand money. Everyone chuckled, including Junaid, while I sat there burning with shame. Each incident chipped away at me. I'd retreat to the bathroom to cry, or lock myself in the kids' room and pretend to be organizing their toys just so no one would see me fall apart. But nothing prepared me for what happened on my 32nd birthday. I wanted that night to be special. Not extravagant, just meaningful. I planned a dinner at our house, invited close friends and family, decorated the living room with soft lights, and even baked my own cake. Emma and Noah helped me set the table, their excitement contagious. For a moment, I felt hopeful. Maybe tonight would be different. Maybe, just once, I could have a memory that wasn't tainted by cruelty. The evening began well enough. Friends arrived, we shared laughter, and for a little while, I let myself believe I was surrounded by love. Then Layla and Nadia arrived, late of course, making their grand entrance as though the night revolved around them. They didn't bring gifts, only smug smiles and sharp tongues. From the moment they sat down, the comments started. "This pasta is a little bland," Layla remarked loudly, glancing at Junaid. "Don't you think, brother?" Nadia smirked. I could have sworn Hazel wore that same dress last year. Maybe she doesn't believe in treating herself. I forced a smile, trying not to let it ruin the night. But then Junaid, my husband, the man who once swore to cherish me, joined them. "Hazel, maybe next time you should let my sisters handle the food," he joked. Laughter erupted. At my expense. On my birthday, I felt the blood drain from my face. My hands shook as I tried to hold back tears. Around the table, some guests shifted uncomfortably, but no one spoke up. Not a single person. Even my children sat silently, confusion etched on their little faces as they watched their mother become the target of ridicule. I excused myself, my voice trembling. I walked to the bedroom, locked the door, and collapsed on the bed. The tears came hot and fast, soaking the pillow beneath me. I had never felt so small, so utterly destroyed. On my birthday, my husband and his sisters had conspired to humiliate me in front of everyone. As I lay there, something shifted inside me. Grief gave way to anger. Humiliation hardened into resolve. I realized that night that I had been giving and giving, expecting love in return. And all I had gotten was cruelty. I made a promise to myself. Never again. The Hazel they mocked, the Hazel they underestimated, that woman no longer existed. In her place stood someone new, someone ready to fight back. And soon they would regret underestimating me. That night, on my 32nd birthday, I made a silent promise to myself. I wasn't going to cry myself to sleep anymore. I wasn't going to keep begging for love or respect from people who thrived on humiliating me. If they wanted a weak Hazel, they had buried her with their cruelty. The woman who rose from that bed was someone else, someone who would make them pay. But revenge isn't something you rush into. It's not about screaming, or throwing plates, or storming out of the house. Real revenge takes patience, planning, precision, and I had all the tools I needed. Outwardly, I pretended nothing had changed. I kept smiling at Junaid. I greeted Layla and Nadia politely when they came around. I cooked, cleaned, and carried on as if the birthday humiliation hadn't scarred me. To them, I was still the docile, broken wife. But inside, I was studying them. Every insult, every careless word, every financial decision Junaid made without me, I logged it away. I kept a hidden journal, documenting dates, times, and details. At work, my colleagues joked about how meticulous I was with medical charts. What they didn't know was that same attention to detail was being applied to my so-called family. One thing about being married to a man in real estate, you learn a lot about money. And I knew more than Junaid realized. While he laughed with his sisters about my lack of financial sense, I had quietly studied our accounts for years. I discovered something. Junaid wasn't as responsible as he pretended to be. Layla and Nadia often asked him for money, and he gave it freely, sometimes even dipping into our children's college savings. He called it helping family. I called it betrayal. So I started gathering evidence. Bank statements, transaction histories, even text messages where his sisters pressured him for cash. I built a paper trail so airtight, even Junaid couldn't wriggle out of it. In every war, you need allies. Mine came in the form of two unlikely sources, my best friend Rachel and my coworker James. Rachel had been warning me for years that Junaid was toxic, but she respected my decision to stay. When I finally confessed that I was planning to leave and take revenge, she didn't hesitate. "Whatever you need, Hazel. I'm with you." James, on the other hand, was a quiet, steady presence at the hospital. When I told him in vague terms that I was preparing for a custody battle, he pointed me toward the best family lawyer in Austin. Confidential, discreet, ruthless. I knew I couldn't just leave. If I walked out the door, Junaid and his sisters would spin the narrative. Hazel the ungrateful wife, Hazel the unstable mother. I had to control the story. So I played the role. Sweet, supportive, submissive. I encouraged Junaid to go out more, spend time with his sisters. He thought he was winning. What he didn't know was that I had installed a small recording device in the living room and a security system that backed up footage to the cloud. It didn't take long to catch him. One night, while I was working late, Layla and Nadia came over. Over glasses of wine, they mocked me openly. "She's so pathetic," Nadia laughed. "She thinks she's a good wife just because she works." "Please," Layla sneered. "Without us, she'd be nothing. And Junaid knows it." Then Junaid joined in. "My husband. My partner. You're right. She's weak. She'll never leave me. She has nowhere to go." Those words seared into me like fire. But instead of breaking me, they became my weapon. The day I struck back was not random. It was carefully chosen, our anniversary. I invited friends and extended family over for dinner. Just like my birthday, the house was filled with laughter, food, and clinking glasses. Junaid thought it was a celebration of us. He didn't know it was his downfall. Halfway through dinner, I stood up, holding a glass of wine. "I just want to say how grateful I am for everyone here tonight. For family, for love, for honesty." I clicked a button on the TV remote. The room went silent as the screen lit up. And there it was, footage of Junaid and his sisters mocking me, calling me weak, bragging about how I'd never leave. Their voices filled the room, crystal clear. Gasps echoed around the table. Friends exchanged horrified glances. Junaid turned pale. "Hazel, turn it off." "No," I said firmly. "Everyone deserves to know the truth." I played clip after clip. Evidence of their cruelty. Evidence of Junaid funneling money to his sisters. Evidence of him laughing at my expense. By the time the screen went dark, the room was icy. The perfect Carter family image was shattered. The next morning, I was gone. I had already secured a rental apartment under my name, transferred my paycheck to a new account, and hired the lawyer James recommended. I filed for divorce, armed with evidence of financial misconduct and emotional abuse. Junaid tried to fight it, of course. He claimed I was unstable, that I was overreacting. But the recording spoke louder than his lies. In court, my lawyer painted a clear picture. A hardworking mother, financially responsible, emotionally abused, humiliated in front of her children. Judges don't look kindly on men who steal from their kids' college funds to bankroll their sisters' lifestyles. I won custody of Emma and Noah. I kept the house. Junaid was ordered to pay child support. As for Layla and Nadia, their reputations were ruined. Word spread quickly in our community. People who once thought they were charming saw them for what they really were, manipulative parasites. Do I regret it? Not for a second. They thought they had destroyed me. They thought they could laugh at me forever, that I would never stand up for myself. But I did. And when I did, I made sure they lost everything they had used to hurt me. Today, my life looks different. I still work as a nurse, but now I come home to a peaceful apartment where my children feel safe. I'm not perfect, and I'm not always strong, but I'm free. And that freedom is worth more than any marriage, any fake family bond, any illusion of love. When I look back at that birthday night, I no longer see humiliation. I see a turning point. The night Hazel Carter was reborn. And if Junaid, Layla, and Nadia ever wonder how they lost everything, the answer is simple: they underestimated me. If you liked my story, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with as many people as possible. Thanks for watching.